Yo, peace, peace. Once again, we are back at it with episode 67 of Plot in Progress. Got my good brother Kyran up in here. You know what I'm saying?
Peace, y'all.
Tonight's guest is his name is Kyran Jones. He has his own remodeling company called, let me make sure I got it right here. Mama's Boys Remodeling. Interesting name. We'll find out all about that when he comes on the show in a few. But and I guess we'll wait for him to see if he could guess what the lyrics are from Spit Those Bars when it comes up. But in the meanwhile, we can talk about our last episode, which was episode 66 with Kid Friendly, real brilliant young brother who's an MC and is doing a lot of positive things in the community. Brother Kylan, were you able to catch that episode?
Nope, I got some catching up to do. But I did meet that brother a couple weeks ago at one of the First Friday, I guess it was last month's First Friday, down on Roosevelt Row. I was down there and came across his booth with his team and tried his product, and also had a very good conversation. He was out there, doing his thing, freestyling. He's like one of these guys that can just go on and on forever. But it's all in a way, it's all cohesive, and it's all like he's dope with that. So he's like one of the freestyle kings for sure. And that's what initially grabbed my attention. I walked over and I realized who it was. Hadn't met him before, but I had, heard good things about him through you, I believe, and a few others. So definitely looking forward to getting caught up on that one.
Yeah, indeed. We talked about faith, fatherhood, the music, of course, and what I really like, brother, when I was married, man, I used to tell my ex-wife, if I could just find one other brother who was on it, like I was, we could make some moves. And I found this one brother, and we started True School Radio. But lately, I've been feeling like I want to pour everything all my knowledge and everything about hip hop and whatnot into a cat who's really trying to do something positive in the game. And I feel like he's that cat. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of my top favorite interviews that I've done. That's up there with Professor Griff, Chuck D,
wow.
and Stickman, because I love brothers in hip hop that get it and understand the power and the responsibility of their platform and their voice. You know what I'm saying? Because I just feel like if it was more like that, this world would be so much different. I mean, we talked about it when we were giving our perspectives on Pick 6 by Tahir, right? And we talked about how that was played on the radio constantly versus a lot of the garbage. What would the mind state of the people be? If they're always getting fed this positive stuff, you know what I mean? But I mean, what's your take on that?
I mean, yeah, I agree, man. I mean, that's back to the original intent of the art form, and we, somehow we've gotten pulled away. Well, it has gotten pulled away from us. I'll say that.
I like how you corrected that.
Yeah. And because those that know, we know, right? And we definitely know when we see it, because game recognize game. And it's refreshing to have those encounters because it sort of reinforces the faith in what needs to be done. And especially if it's someone of a younger demographic, then that's definitely encouraging to see. Because I'm noticing some of the younger guys are actually reaching back and doing some due diligence on some of the previous art work that has been done in hip hop, and really trying to understand, or at least be familiar. And if it resonates with them, paying homage is always a great thing to do. But more importantly than even paying homage is to add on, and that's just what we like to see.
Man, the verbiage, everything used right there was perfect, man. As far as adding on, man, that's how we build, man. And speaking of building, we talk a lot about, adding on like in the cipher, and I was building last night with the homies and everything, and just talking. A lot of us do that, but we got a true builder up in the spot tonight, man. His name is Kyran Jones. Welcome to the show, brother.
Oh, what's up, brother? Peace. How
Got
you
the
doing?
applause. I like that.
Yeah. We was talking earlier about your company is called Mama's Boys Remodeling. And before we get into Spit Them Bars, real quickly, how did you come up with that name for your company?
Well, essentially, it's true. I am a mama's boy. I feel a lot of us are, just scared to admit it, I guess. But it was marketing. I started off on Thumbtack, and it was a competitive market. I noticed that a lot of the companies that I was in a bidding war with had more masculine names, and me going into people's homes, I knew that I probably need to have a softer touch. And if they understand that I'm going to treat them as I would treat my mother, or like our slogan, we treat your home like our own, I actually got a lot of bids just off of the name itself. So that's how it started.
That was a whole lot more than I expected.
Oh, my bad.
No. As far as like the background to the name, that's
okay, yeah. It was really just marketing. You know what I mean?
That's peace.
In the beginning.
Before we get more in depth and everything, brother, when my brothers ain't on the show, I keep messing up, man. I'm supposed to go over our mission statements. Let me get that out the way real quick. At the L.E.G.A.C.Y, we are unified in action to build, protect, and a fruitful legacy of love, equity, growth, ancestry, cooperation, and yield. Inspiring and educating on the practices of agriculture, self-care, nutrition, environmental stewardship, and entrepreneurship. We aim to cultivate a vibrant community rooted in resilience and sustainability. Now, Kyran, I don't know how familiar you are with the show. I don't know if you ever got a chance to catch any of the previous episodes, but we have this segment. It's called Spit Them Bars, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spit them bars, give you the chance to try to guess who the artist and song is.
All right.
And so I'll give you a few chances, then let my brother Kyle try to figure it out if you know. But if you stay in current, I think one of y'all is going to get this. So here we go. Real quick. All right. I did it looking a Civic and back in the land, feeling like fucking Atlanta. Bought me 2 plots of land. Nowhere to duck off with my fam. Practice my gun shot in my gym. But thinking I'm too big to come home because I got the planet Earth in my hand.
Oh, you got me on that one. I would take a guess, but
hey, you know what? I'm gonna give you a hint, bro. And this is gonna give it away too. Colin, you know who it is, right?
Nah, you got me. I need the hint.
Yeah, this is definitely gonna give it away. We recently filmed that in Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was recently filmed in Phoenix?
Yeah.
It wasn't. That's not J. Cole, right?
J. Cole, bro.
Yeah, all right, okay.
Yeah, old dog.
Right.
Old dog.
Well, I know he plays ball, so that the line about saying a jump shot, that's what kind of but yeah, I wasn't familiar with that verse.
Okay, shout out to J. Cole.
Yeah, and his new album is fire.
Yeah, showing love to Phoenix, rocking the Diamondbacks, adding everything up in the video.
That's dope.
Welcome to the show, brother. I want to get into what you got going on, especially your company, how it got started and everything. But I want to go back because you're kind of a legend out this mode, and I know you hate when I bring this up. I don't know why. You know what I'm saying?
Just but I appreciate it. Thank you.
But I'm gonna let you because we're gonna do a more in-depth one-on-one later on. So I would like for you to just start where you want to start as far as your journey is concerned. How you got to where you're at right now.
Well, I mean, how far you want me to go back?
Well, check it out, because what you're doing, you weren't always a builder. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No.
Nobody would have thought that back in the day when you was like having highlights on every Friday night after you were in high school, running over motherfuckers like you was Eric Dickerson and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa.
So, just tell them your story, man, because it's an incredible story and people need to know it, man. You know what I'm saying?
I think really where it derived from is just me being determined and just a go-getter. Maybe it's the skills that I learned just being an athlete throughout life. But you know, when I don't know if you know, I was incarcerated, and you know, I came home and, you know, of course I had to get a job. So I began, a good friend of mine his dad got me a job at the unloading trucks for the Arizona Opera. And while I was in prison, I've always been kind of like a painter, crafty, you know, and, you know, I sharpened my skills and, you know, became a better artist while incarcerated. So fast forward, I was unloading trucks and I noticed that the painting was subpar. So I offered my services, gave them some samples of my work, and I got hired painting for the Arizona Opera, painting sets. Moved forward into you know, building, you know, working on the carpentry end of it, and I think just my math skills is what catapulted me, you know, within the crew, pertaining to just reading blueprints and being able to, you know, make cut lists and you know, and build. So that's kind of where it started, and I progressed from there and moved into contracting and construction, but it all started from the opera.
Amazing. Yeah. Can you talk about some of the things that you've built, man? It's pretty.
I mean, I've bathrooms, kitchens, additions, specialty projects. I was hired to build the P-51 Tuskegee fighter plane for Post 65 Legion. I think it was 2022, the Veterans Day Parade. So that was cool to be a part of that project. We ended up winning first place, which was nice to bring that trophy home. So yeah, I mean, I do a lot of custom work. A lot of the bathrooms and media walls are custom. So that's just the best part of it, is when I get to talk to the client and do custom work rather than just, you know, throwing in a standard shower. You know, it's no fun.
Pretty challenging though.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what makes it fun, you know. If it's not challenging, then it's not fun.
What's the wildest thing you got requested for?
A customer asked for you know how they have the glass panel walls, where it's like spa style, where you walk in with no door. Well, they actually wanted a dual entry, so they wanted the glass set in the middle of the shower, suspended from the ceiling, where you can enter from both sides. And you know, no glass company, you know, of course they didn't want to do the install. So you know, me just being knowledgeable, you know, in structure, I went in the attic, I put in the structure that was needed to support that glass, and then I was able to do it. Came out pretty good. I'll send the video over to you.
I seen it.
It was a nice project.
Yeah. We definitely gotta play that during when we talk. We can edit some of this too and everything, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of I'm kind of laughing at how humble you're being right now, man. Because when you're showing me stuff, it's all good. Hey, Kylan, you got any questions?
Yeah, when you spoke about the opportunity that you got at the Opera Center, sounds like that came by way of relationship building. Can you emphasize the key or the importance, the significance of relationship building, especially in construction, because a lot of opportunities come by referral and through rapport that you build with, investors or other contractors, that sort of thing. Can you speak to that? How important that is?
Definitely. That's a good question. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know how to really look at it, but me personally, I've never spent one red cent on marketing, whether it's social media, Google. Everything is through referrals, through just being a good person, being a stand-up guy. This year that's what I want to do. I was like, you know what, I need to put some money into marketing to catapult my company. But I can definitely say that since 2017, like just my network from ASU, Peoria High School, just everywhere, man, everywhere that I touch, man, I'm able to create relationships and meet with like-minded people. So yeah, definitely fortunate when it comes to building relationships and being able to survive out here, just on that alone.
That's key, bro. And it's great to know that you're out here in that space, because we're underrepresented in this particular landscape. And there's a lot going on. So that means there's a lot of opportunity. So for someone like you to exist in this space with the skill set that you have, I'm sure I'm sure you're inspiring people already. And hopefully, people will either come across this interview or do some work with you or just see you out and about and ask those questions so that, someone else can, kind of latch on to the similar interest that you did that kind of propelled you into this space, very important. So I'm just enthused to hear about everything that you got going on, bro. Because I know that I can just tell by the way you talk about it, that you're passionate about it. You enjoy the challenges. And that's what it's all about. That mentality alone can get us a long way collectively if we just embrace challenges.
Man, that's real, bro.
Yep. We got to lean into that. So I know you mentioned carpentry. Is that kind of like your wheelhouse, or have you expanded to like general contracting or other specific trades that you do?
Yeah. At this point, I pretty much do everything except for recharging, that HVAC.
Gotcha.
I'm just not certified to purchase the Freon. But yeah, everything, electrical, plumbing. I started out like carpentry is definitely my foundation. But yeah, I've learned it all. I got it from top to bottom for sure.
That's what's up.
Yo, I want to backtrack real quick. Speaking of building relationships, don't y'all know each other?
Yeah, I was gonna speak on that.
Yeah, this is a full circle moment. We were involved in an effort years ago, and this is also satisfying because I remember the brother telling me about what he set out to do, and he's doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was when I started.
That's awesome, and that was that was a couple of moons ago, probably pushing a decade almost now.
Yeah.
So very good. I mean, essentially, it was an incubator setting where myself, Kyran, and some others were, trying to erect businesses and, enterprise with each other so that we can impact our respective professions and skill sets. And it was a really fun time because everyone was enthusiastic about what they were doing. And we were sort of like encouraging each other just by convening and talking about what we're working on, So So yeah, man, full circle moment for sure.
Yeah,
And shout out to you, man, for following through.
man. Thank you. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. And
Yeah,
shout out for what you brothers are doing as well. You know, I have been following, so with the land acquisition and everything that you're doing up there, it's beautiful. Definitely.
Speaking of that,
I knew Drew was going. I knew you were coming. Speaking of that, go ahead, Drew.
I'm not going there. But speaking of that mission I was a part of, sounds amazing. What happened?
What was that?
Well, how y'all met each other and what y'all was involved in. It sounds
Right.
pretty amazing. I'm asking you, like, what happened? Because I've heard Kylan's.
Man, unfortunately, man, I in my opinion, greed, man. Greed is what happened. And it's just unfortunate, man, that that people can't come together, man, and understand that there's enough for everyone. You know what I mean? And there's more to come. You know what I mean? As long as everyone is solid, man, and keeps their eyes on the prize. You know what I mean? Stays focused, man. That really hurt, man, because that was a good thing, man. We really were doing. I felt good about the group. Like I said, it was just inspirational to go to those meetings and to talk with everyone. So I was a little let down, man, when I found that out. Yeah, I was hurt. I didn't expect that to come from anyone in that group, and it was crazy because man, I don't want to put any names out there, but so in the meeting, a friend, I left the meeting. We were looking for outside investors at that point. I got on the phone. I called a good friend of mine that I played ball with at ASU. He later went to the league. He's done good for himself. I called him to see if he wanted to be a part of it, and he told me he already heard about it. And I'm like, there's no way. I'm in the parking lot. And so that's kind of like how it all blew up, is when we found out somebody actually had a cell phone on speaker and was sharing the information with someone else. And then it leaked back to my boy, and I ended up calling him about it. And then it, I'll stop there, but he ended up knowing Perry, rest in peace. And yeah, it kind of went from there. But.
Indeed. Yeah, it was very unfortunate for it to dissolve. You mentioned a good brother, Perry Elam, that is. He was at that time especially, he was very influential for me in regard to like encouragement to just step out there and do it. Like, you good enough.
Right. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of us do a lot of second guessing at times, and we're trying to perfect something before we launch off of whatever that launch pad is. But in a lot of ways, initiating the journey is what you really need to refine the process along the way. You know what I mean? Not necessarily as a prerequisite before you can start. So I know he was very good with words and things of that nature, and he started to kind of push me out into situations where I just had to, you know what I mean, speak to what I said I was going to do, and also speak for the group in a sense, to advocate for everyone that was involved, including myself, obviously. But yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, you put a nail on it. I mean, greed is what it came down to. I would agree. And unfortunately, that happens way too often. You know what I mean? Because I've been involved in a few other efforts where similar dynamics sort of get introduced along the way. And I know this is true for you because you are where you are. We don't let that kind of stuff discourage us. So we take those experiences, and that sharpens us, right? Because it sharpens our eyes, sharpens our ears. And it also uncovers areas where we need to do a little more work on, perhaps. And we become more diligent in how we move. So it's par for the course.
Yeah. I mean, that's the main thing. Y'all kept going. You know what I'm saying? And you see the results. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But and I'm having a hard time because y'all names are so similar. I'm trying to make sure I say y'all names right. But Kyran, man, talk to me about plans for the future, because I know you say you want to start a nonprofit. Talk to me a little bit about
Yeah, definitely. Basically, man, I feel that, just, I don't just want to just say, young brothers, but, just young men in itself. They don't have the skills that the men had, back in the day, where, men were just really handy. Fortunately, my dad was 56 years old when I was born. He was born in 1925. We'll talk about that too, True. I know that's, he was a Black Panther and amongst, other things. And, that was, using my hands was just a part of my upbringing, part of my chores. I had chores that, my friends didn't have, and I thought my dad was evil for that, but he wasn't, man. He was instilling some things in me. And so, these things I feel, should be passed on. And on top of that, just, being an entrepreneur, I want to teach young men, how to fish, you know what I'm saying? How to catch their own fish, man. I don't want them to be in the same cycle that, a lot of my peers are in, where, just the conventional schooling just teaches you how to make somebody else's, company successful. And so to be able to, to give them a jewel on top of, just that mentorship, that's what I would like to do for the youth, man. And so, yeah, that's really my goal, this year. And yeah, so I got a few things to do. I'm in school right now, just so I have the paperwork that's required for me to do the things that I want to do this year. So yeah, it's gonna be an exciting year for sure. So with the group of young men that I really want to target are troubled youth. My goal, I want to start out in public schools, because I think that's going to be the easiest way and the easiest route to my end goal, which is to go into the juvenile hall, or the juvenile system, prison system, and get those kids. Like that's really what I want. But I know that it's a process. I have a lot of connections in the public schools, that is just gonna help that what I'm trying to do. But at Tempe High School, that's where it's really gonna start. True. I know the principal there, and he started a program and asked me to be a part of it, to help keep kids in school. They're kicking a lot of kids out of school. A lot of these kids are minorities, to where they're not getting their education. So he created almost like a charter school within, on campus. So I'm gonna start with that, and then transcend into the the juvenile hall system. And then coincidentally, the officer that works at Tempe High School was one of my arresting officers, on my charge. So that's full circle to where we're now working together to help kids and stuff. So they're the same way that, there was a bad light shed on me. Now it's going to be a brighter light. And like I said, that program is going to help catapult this other program, that I want to do with the kids in the juvenile system.
Yeah, a lot of tonight is about collaboration as well. A lot of the things that you got going on with Kyran are things that we plan on implementing as well. Kylan, if you don't mind, can you talk about the roots? And Kylan, I want to get your thoughts on this.
Okay.
Yeah. So in our current state, our staple is the legacy camp, where we essentially take the young men away from the city out into out into our acreage up in Apache County. And that's for multiple reasons: to detach them from technology and their parents, their typical setting, but also to work with their hands. And you mentioned something about working with hands, and that was just first, second nature for previous generations, where all the men knew how to do certain things. You knew how to fix on things, you knew how to build things.
Right.
And there's something about working with your hands, and it could be simple stuff. Fixing something for your family, and you able to say, "I fixed that." There's a satisfaction. There's an affirmation that comes with that, where I did that. I came through, and these have utility. You know what I mean? They're not just ugly hands. They actually have utility.
Right.
So getting back to that, I think is going to be one of the mechanisms that restores respect, pride, all of that in our communities. When brothers know that they can work with their hands, and there's a place where that is valued. So that's very key. I just wanted to highlight that real quick. So the next iteration of what we do, we want to get into exactly what you're talking about. So Roots is a program. It's an acronym that stands for Rising Opportunities in Occupational Trade Skills. And essentially our target audience is, the young men, high school, junior high school. And basically we would just like to serve as a bridge towards the career development opportunities in the skilled trades, right? So there's already existing trade schools and apprenticeship programs, things of that nature. What we intend to do is sort of jumpstart that trajectory into those spaces by facilitating, just very fundamental education, getting them familiar with the terminology, some of the equipment, understanding the life cycle of a construction project, and also all the different facets of construction. Because I think as a kid, when you hear construction, you have an image in your mind, but you don't consider all the different disciplines: carpentry, HVAC, plumbing, electrician, even equipment operators. There's a lot of different things that go into it: engineering, architecture, code enforcement. That's what I do. There's a lot that goes into it. So really, it's an exposure effort on our behalf, and partnering with individuals like yourself is going to be key to make this thing integral for the participants to actually get the value that they need to get a jump start at this. Because there's not an abundance of men like yourself walking around that not only work with their hands, but you actually enterprise yourself, right? So you are contributing to the market. You're contributing to the GDP through your hands, providing a service to the community. And by you demonstrating that, I think that can enlighten a lot of young men and a lot of young sisters as well. So that's key. I'm very interested to hear more about. We can talk about that offline to see where we align and how we can work together.
Sure.
This is something that we still kind of developing, but there's a great demand for it. And as I mentioned earlier, we are underrepresented. But these skills were, man, come on now. There was a time where we did all of that.
Right.
We did all of that. That's what we were known for in that time. And then, there was opposition out there that conspired. I'm gonna just call it what it is. With the advent of unions and all kinds. There's positives that came with that as well, but it was really to reallocate the skilled labor, and we got cut out of a lot of that. So we got to be very intentional about bringing the value back to that by way of us.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then I want to add to that. So the title handyman, I thought about. I was like handyman. Like when did that title become a title? Because every man was handy before it was a handyman. It was like what happened in the community or whatever, where men got too busy where they just had to hire somebody to handle it for them. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that when that happened, um, I think corporations, like you said, that's what really like destroyed like the yeah, that's what made a separation between men being handy and being just in front of a computer. I think that's, you know what I mean. Um, yeah, in my opinion, I could be wrong.
No, that's accurate. That's accurate. So I'm glad that, like I've been saying this a lot lately. There perhaps maybe there isn't a lot of us, but there's enough of us. And as long as there's enough of us doing these sort of things, the next generation can take it
For sure.
exponentially to the higher levels. And
Yeah,
that's what we're
that's the
looking
plan,
for.
for sure.
So you gonna be one of our instructors, brother?
Yeah, I'm with it.
He got
For
straight
sure.
to it.
Yeah, I'm with it. You know, that's right along lines of what I'm doing. So what aspire to do. So yeah, man. You know, each one teach one.
All right. Yo, Kylan, you got some type of construction. Man, what is it? You know what I'm talking about, right?
What you trying to say?
Oh,
Spit it out.
let me talk about text messages, bro. There's some type of gathering for people in your line of
Oh,
work.
yeah, that is Arizona Construction Career Day, which is an annual event. Actually, I think it's a 2-day event. It's held
Okay.
at Papago. I think it's at the military facility over near Papago Park.
Yeah,
Um,
on McDowell. Off of
yeah,
McDowell.
yeah. So it's like an expo seminar convention type thing where essentially they get a bunch of key players in the construction industry on a local level, and
Okay.
they set up, booths and exhibitions and things of that nature. But it's for high school kids to get this
Okay.
exposure in. So they come through various schools throughout the valley, bus kids to this setting, and they interact and they have an ability to ask questions and follow through on some leads, or they have interest. They can learn about the
Right.
apprenticeship programs, all the different labor unions and things of that nature. So I'm going to be a part of that this year, and certainly looking forward to making connections, networking, see where we can
Yeah.
plug ourselves in. Really just trying to provide value, professionally, and also for individuals like yourself that I'm aware of that could use, additional association with some of these, power brokers in the region.
Yeah.
This valley, it seems like there's infinite growth right now. It on all sides of the valley. It's just swelling,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Northeast,
Yeah.
southwest. It's just continual. Our population continues to swell as well. So economically, that's a great thing. There's a lot of opportunity. We just got to get in there and be a part of it, So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that as well, for sure.
Likewise.
Had you heard of that before?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
No, I'm familiar with the Air Force Base. Just through travel, but no, I wasn't familiar with the event. So.
Well, yo, man. Thanks for coming on. I just want to say before we end it, we all go through our struggles in life, right? And I used to hear people say some wild things about you, Kyran, and I was like, damn, man, like, Kyran? It was,
I don't know how wild. I'm scared. What'd you hear?
I was talking about you crazy and all this and everything. And
that I was crazy?
I said, anyway, it don't matter what.
All right, okay, all right.
Well, all I wanted to say is I'm very proud of you, brother.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Media, man, and you was telling me about all these things. Well, I got to be honest, man. Like it was the stuff I was hearing, I was like, I wouldn't have thought that you would have been doing all the stuff you did, but the dream always rises to the top. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to let you know that I'm real proud of you, man, and I'm glad we're back in contact. And
Yeah, for sure.
I look forward to like working together on this roost or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because like I told you before, man, you're doing what more of us need to be doing. And I asked him, was he hiring? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Man.
But
Well,
at the same
important.
time,
Go ahead, bro.
Excuse me. Well, I was gonna say at the same time, I felt the same way about you when I came to visit you at the store. You know, I'm like, man, I'm proud of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're inspiring people to read. You're making it cool to read. You know what I'm saying? And so to give that to the community, as well as you still being your authentic self from back when we were in high school. I'm like, man, he ain't changed. Even the way you dress, man, is that the same jeans from high school? You know what I'm saying? Those the same cross colors, you know what I mean? But just you being true, to yourself. I'm proud of that and respect that. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm flattered, to get that compliment.
Hey, he said he heard a lot of wild stuff about you too, bro.
You're right. I heard him.
Yeah. Hey, man, Kyran, you got anything else for Kyran?
You know what? For any of the listeners, if they need services, what's the best way to reach out to you, Brother Kyran? And then also, if you could just reiterate what your specialties are, you know what I mean? And, if you're available to do so, how can you assist anyone that needs someone that's trustworthy, does quality work, all that good stuff?
Right. Specialties, pretty much anything, like I said. Yeah, pretty much anything. If any repairs, you need additions, things built from the ground up, I can handle it. You could reach me, my website, MBR Pros, Mary Bob Robert, pros.com, pros is plural, or at Mama's Boys Remodeling. Instagram, Mama's Boys is MAMAS, and Boys is plural, remodeling.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Right there at the bottom.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate that.
Indeed.
Yes,
indeed. Professional. I like that.
Word.
But yeah.
Any last things you got to say, brother?
I appreciate you guys having me on. And, just showing interest in, what I'm doing. And, I appreciate it, it's giving me a chance to, tell my story, as well as promote my services. So I definitely appreciate it. And just to be the invitation to be a part of what you guys are doing is, that's beautiful. So I appreciate it.
You say you didn't spend one red cent on marketing. Well, hopefully this gets you more business. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. Shout out to you again, bro. You're doing very important work. Something that I've said previously is like the men got to be men again, especially in this time, and working with your hands, man. That's a testament of being the type of men that we need to see and be out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just want to really emphasize the fact that brothers like you that bet on themselves, number one, that's another aspect of what you're doing is to be acknowledged as well. Like you're betting on yourself, you enterprise yourself, and you put yourself out there. That takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of, you know what I mean? You got to do your homework, and you have to really invest in your craft. So I don't want that to go unacknowledged. And I just really want to salute you. I'm glad that you followed through. I know I mentioned that before, but it's good to see you doing great things, and certainly looking forward to collaboration moving forward.
For sure. Thank you.
And on that note,
peace.
Hey, I'm gonna be with you later. All right, brother?
All right, man. All right. Peace.
Peace. Thank you.
Yep. You're welcome.
All right. Another dope episode. What you think, Colin? You see us working together in the future?
Indeed, man. That's great, man. I mean, construction,
The whole full circle thing is crazy, right?
full circle, yeah. And then, I mean, construction. That's kind of like my world, man. So anytime there's someone that is like me in the space, not only am I enthused, but I'm one of these people that I really try to use my position or my knowledge to help, and try to further proliferate those efforts so that we can get more of us in those positions. It's not about me necessarily. It's not about him necessarily, but it's about us.
Right.
And the key thing about that term, us, is like, we have to define what that means to ourselves. We can't let other people classify that term for us. So we got to be intentional about what that means and who we identify with. And it really just needs to be principle-based, behavior pattern-based, right? And we just got to stand on that, So it goes way deeper than the optics. And I think that's an oversimplification that we just got to get past. And I know there's an emotional aspect to that as well, but we have to think on a higher level for us to thrive in this current atmosphere. And we just got to go a little deeper, a lot deeper, actually. But I love to hear those stories, man. The brother's confident, and he's doing something that is very fruitful, not only for himself, but the community, the people that love him, the people that need him. And for all the listeners, if you got something going on, get a brother a shot, hit him up. We pretty much vouching for him with full confidence. And if you know anything about us, we are principle based. I can say that with full confidence. All 7 of us that are part of this growth spot, we are very principled. We're not perfect, but those principles we care about. I mean, you hear our mission statement every episode. That's why we reiterate it every episode, so that we can emphasize it to you and also ourselves. Right. It's accountability. It's a two-way street.
And that's what I'm saying, man. Like, if you said we're not perfect, and when we mess it up, let us know. I'm saying,
yep.
Hold us accountable. You know what I'm saying? That's
yep.
how we make each other better.
Yep. And something about accountability. I spoke about this over the weekend. By the way, shout out.
I'm upset.
Why are you upset?
We can talk about that later, though.
Oh man. Okay, you just gonna lay that on me like that?
I told you to make a section on in our Discord for like events outside of the growth spot to help me out.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Man, they've been blasting that thing on social media for months now.
Don't do that, bro. Well, unless you're on social media 24/7, like I might have seen it, but like, if I don't see it the day before, you know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff on social media, man.
I hear you. I
definitely knew about it, but I forgot. You know what I'm saying?
You still got 2 eyeballs like I do.
Yo, go ahead and talk about what were you saying?
So over the weekend, and by the way, shout out to OBFC, our Black Fathers Committee. They facilitated the 5th annual, if I'm not mistaken, it was the 5th annual leadership brunch, which is usually held in Black History Month, February. So I was one of the speakers on this occasion, and I spoke about accountability, not only the necessity of it, but also you can hold people accountable without being hostile as well. Accountability without hostility is a thing. Now, hostility has its place for sure, but as men especially, we have to learn how to make accountability palatable for ourselves. When we're on the receiving end, especially, we got to learn how to acknowledge what's coming our way when it's coming our way, and be a little bit of objective in the ears and take that information in and try to apply it. And perhaps it's human nature to be defensive when someone's like trying to check you on something, but none of us are beyond that being checked. We all need it from time to time. So I did speak about that a little bit, and amongst other things. acknowledging our history and our future, man. Like, I feel like the history is great, because it gives us a reference point on who we are, enables us to reflect on our current state, but it can also help us define our trajectory into the future. And I really want to talk about that more, because when you talk about the future, it helps you prioritize the current, right? So you can get to that future. So I just want to encourage everybody to be a little more imaginative. Like, there's things that have been done that felt impossible at a time, but because someone was bold enough or delusional enough, whatever you want to call it, to try it and persist, it's just among us now. It's regular, right?
I feel like you're trying to talk about something when you talk about the future and you talk about being creative. But before you get into that, what did you think about when Kyran said he was fortunate to have a father who taught him how to use his hands, and everybody thinking his father was evil?
Wow, man. I mean, it's a necessity. I think the yin and yang is the most profound symbol that we have in existence. And it's a testament of the balance of a lot of different things, right? But in the household, you need both of those energies to complement each other. And
nailed it.
Sometimes you need that abrasive energy, masculine energy, whatever you want to call it, to mold you. And that's not to minimize the nurturing that you would get from the complementary energy.
Not at all.
But they're both necessary. And when you look in nature, this is like it's one of the more obvious things right up under our noses. But there's seasons. There's a season for everything. There's a season for things to get wiped out. There's a season for things to blossom. There's a season for things to be cultivated. There's a season for you to have that iron fist in the household. And I don't mean in an abusive way, but there are principles and there are boundaries and there are expectations as well. So in my life and my family, I mean, that came by way of the father. And it's unfortunate that a lot of individuals didn't have that element in their homes. And it's not to say that you can't be a principled individual, a productive individual, a respectable individual without that. But I do think it's harder, a lot harder without that. So it's I don't even want to call it a privilege, because it should be something that we all have, but we can't take it for granted when we have that. So for him to acknowledge that, I think it just further emphasizes the importance of fatherhood. I shouted out to OBFC earlier. That's a platform that we all convene on to sharpen our fatherhood, collectively. So there's no finish line to any of this. But I also said this over the past weekend. We want to be sure that we can pass the baton confidently. And we want to ensure that there are capable hands on the other side of that exchange. In order to do that, we need both. We need the yin and we need the yang. But the yin has the yin and the yang has the yang.
I feel like I got the speech paraphrased. Even though I missed it, I think I got the meat and potatoes just right now. You know what I'm saying? But back to the future and being creative.
Back to the future. All right. So with that being said, we got something very dope coming, and I'm very excited about it. The inaugural Afrofuturism Legacy Ball Gala.
Oh, sounds dope.
So this will be a fundraiser event purpose to support the Legacy Camp and our programs at large. And essentially, this is just going to be a fun night for us to step out, get fly, good vibes, good people, enjoy some cocktails, some good music, featured some dope artists, some local artists. But essentially, the theme Afrofuturism is to really emphasize our history and also encourage our future through creativity. So, whatever that means to you, for some people, when you talk about that term, maybe something like Wakanda comes to mind, but it could be anything in the realm of taking our ancestry forward and our ingenuity forward thinking. So whatever that looks like. So for those that are going to attend, because you don't want to miss this, it's going to be a dope night. Everybody's going to be looking fly. I'm going to be putting a lot into whatever. I don't even know what I'm wearing yet. It's a lot of different directions I'm considering, but it's going to be a really fun night. I don't think there's any event that is in this fashion or in like the approach that we're taking with this event. So it will be unique. But beyond all that, it's going to be great people in that room. So what's your take, or what are you looking forward to in regard to that event?
Oh man, just because when you was telling me about it, man, I told you I thought about the ancestors being sinners, right? Now, how powerful that was. I just like when I see things that honor our ancestors, man, because when we do that, that's like when I talk about getting back to our indigenous roots. I feel like when we do that, we spring from that foundation. Right? As long as we keep that in mind and we think about that, we can spring from that greatness. And just to be around all of that, it kind of goes back to like a lot of things that I talked about with Kid Friendly. Just being around that type of energy, man, it's inspiring. And I feel like that's what we're here to do, is to inspire. Because we're all, many of us are going through this 40 hours a week plus overtime, slavery. That's not the way we're supposed to be living. And what the future looks like to me is like the growth spot, building our own communities and getting back to our indigenous roots. So any opportunity we have to like build on that, share those thoughts and ideas with the larger community. Again, each one teach one. We got to get off this old school, get a job. Kyran talked about it on this episode. How you just in school you get taught to make other companies rich and everything. You got to get off that, man. And it can't just be talk all the time, man. We're actually doing. We're showing how it can be done. We're gradually getting there, and like I always say, we want other people to emulate this. And so when you talk about making people feel tethered to a movement or some type of positivity, I feel like this is that. And we just got to keep the consistency and show how where we come from, which is greatness, and that we can do whatever we want to do. You know what I'm saying? As long as we do it together. You know what I'm saying? Or you can keep trying to be like these other rich capitalists who get everything they want and are still miserable. Because if you get everything you want and you're still a slave, you're gonna be miserable. I'm talking about getting free.
Yeah, no doubt. And we are our best resource. So it's like I see us as we are the vibranium, you know what I'm saying? And there are entities that try to extract this resource, and they have, right, and utilize it for other purposes. But the thing about this vibranium that we have, it's regenerative, right? So think about how trendy we are as a people. We can discard one thing and just erect something tomorrow, and it's the new thing. And when I say it's the new thing, it's like the new global thing, right? So if we acknowledge that, we understand how capable we are, and we can be resourceful with our talents, with our ingenuity, with our knowledge. And I truly believe that's just a testament of what you just spoke to, the ancestors showing up in us. But the sky's the limit once we acknowledge that, and we just really lean into our imagination as well. So that's what I think about when I think about the future. So that event, Afrofuturism Legacy Gala, that's going to be September 26th. That's a Saturday night. Perhaps we'll tag we'll cut in the flyer or the visual on that, so y'all can kind of get the concept a little more. Tickets will be available soon. We're going to be promoting that pretty thoroughly over the next several months to give y'all time to get y'all garbs together. You know what I mean? Y'all fabrics, whatever you're doing. But then also Legacy Camp, more imminently, this Memorial Day weekend. I believe is it May 22nd through the 24th. So if you know any young men that could benefit from that experience, we'd be happy to take them up with us and just get the jewels. You know what I mean? Disconnect, go out into nature, step foot on the soil, work with their hands a little bit. We'll bring them back to you in one piece.
Bring them back to you better than we received them.
Indeed.
Last thing I'll ask you about, when we was talking about men, it's got to be men, and there's certain principles we got to adhere to. When Kid Friendly was on the show, man, we talked about how, like, the previous episode before him, we were talking about how it's kind of cool that we're different, right? When I was talking about the ants and everything, and just when you were speaking now, as far as like men got to be men, it made me think about something I saw earlier where black people always talk about we are not a monolith, and I kind of feel like that's a problem. I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Because I thought about that when you were speaking about all men being on one accord. I mean, what are your thoughts about that, man?
Because we're not a monolith, you're saying that's a problem?
Yeah, maybe if we were all on the same wavelength or ideology, maybe we could get more things done. And I'm not saying that's even a possibility. You know, that's mathematically impossible, right? But like,
yeah, there's there's pros and cons, right? I think I would emphasize the fact that we're not a monolith. That lends itself to being dynamic in our thinking, in our approach to problem solving, and just the way that we show up. You know, I think one of the cons, perhaps, with being a monolith is that I think that sort of implies like a group think approach. And I think there's been instances where we can kind of suffer from that, right? If we're not stepping outside of the box enough. Like, if we just think about art, those individuals that are unconventional, in a lot of instances, they're kind of like the most memorable or the most influential artists, right? Those that are stepping outside of the box. I mean, I can rattle off names, but I think it sort of explores new territory, and it gives us a wider spectrum to operate in. So when I hear monolith, it does feel restrictive to me. But obviously, there's instances where a monolith is. I think if we could be monolithic with particular efforts, yes, I'm all for that. But through and through, I do think there's power in, the different, I guess, what's the term I'm looking for?
Perspectives,
methods of expression and thinking. I think we're better served if we have. Oh, I almost said a term that probably has a negative connotation now. Free thinkers. That term was kind of bastardized by a few people in recent years, but I think there's some advantageous attributes to that sort of existence among us.
Yeah, when you weigh the pros and cons, you talked about the cons. I think, well, maybe this is a con too, but I guess it's just people feel it causes division. You know what I'm saying? And to be unified, You know what I'm saying? Like, how can you be unified when you're all, you know what I'm saying? You all got,
Yeah.
I think,
So my best response to that is like a Venn diagram. You remember those in school, the Venn diagram where you got two circles that overlap?
Yeah.
Okay, so that overlapping part, that's the key, right? So those are the commonalities where we can exert collective efforts, but we don't exist entirely in the same shade per se, but we overlap where we need to.
And immediately I think about, you know, the first Avatar movie, right? They
Okay.
ran out the planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
All types of different tribes, but they all came together for
Mm-hmm.
right, to get rid of that enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Apply that in real life too, but that'll be a whole longer episode. But that said, man, we go ahead and wrap it up, man. I'm just gonna get into this mission statement, and we can call it a night, man. But we can edit that part. At the Growth Spot, we are unified in action to build, protect, and expand a fruitful legacy of love, equity, growth, ancestry, cooperation, and yield. By inspiring and educating on the practices of agriculture, self-care, nutrition, environmental stewardship, and entrepreneurship, we aim to cultivate a vibrant community rooted in resilience and sustainability. And on that note,
Peace.
peace.